In this video, we're going to go over the Kinter widget entry. Now, the entry widget, it will just create a rectangular area that the user can type text into, and it'll take the user's input into the GUI and push out data on the other end. In this case, we're going to push out data into info box. Now, that info box will push out miles, and what we're going to do is convert kilometers into miles. A very simple info dialog box function. So let's go ahead and get into the programming. So first things first is what we did in the other three programs. We will import Kinter. So and then we will also import Kinter's functionality to create a message box. And then we'll create a class, and that we'll call that class Kilo Converter. And then we'll initialize that GUI. And then we want to create the main window. And then here we want to use something called frames. And now frames are useful because they're containers that hold other widgets. And it's good for organizing and arranging groups inside of a window. And here we want to organize how we present the information of entering kilometers and then its output. So let's go ahead and create a top frame, and we also create a bottom frame. And then let's go ahead and create the labels for, or sorry, the widgets for the top frame. In this top frame, we want to prompt the user to enter the distance in kilometers, right? So let's say the label will be self.topFrame, and then the text will say enter a distance in kilometers. And then we'll create a different Kinter element that will, or Kinter, a different variable, sorry, that will store the information that the user inputs as the entry. And then we want the frame to be width 10 pixels. And then let's say we want to pack that frame as well. But we want to pack it to the left to make room for the entry. And now we want to create the bottom frame. So in the bottom frame, we'll call it calculation. We'll call it the calc button. And that button be bottom frame, and the text will say convert. And then when you click this bottom button, it's going to convert kilometers to miles, right? And then we'll create a function later that will initiate convert. And then we also want to create a quit button as a way for the user to exit out of the GUI without having to click the X. But we'll put it in the bottom frame, and the text will say quit. And then, just like in the previous video, we'll say self dot main window dot destroy. And so that will stop the program in its tracks, and that'll be that. So let's go ahead and pack these buttons. And then we'll enter the loop. And that'll be it for the GUI, but we still need to define how we're going to convert this from kilometers to miles. So let's go ahead and define that. So we'll do convert self, and we'll get the value entered by the user into the kilo entry widget by simply creating a local variable, storing that information into a local variable named kilo, and we'll assume that it's a float, and then we'll convert the string variable that is the entry into a float. And we'll get it. So we'll take whatever's entered into kilo entry, use the get method to get that information, convert the string into a float, and store it into the local variable kilo. And then we'll use a simple mathematical equation that miles will be equal to a kilometer. Kilo times it's about 0.6214. So for every kilometer, it's about 0.6214 of a mile. So now what we want to do also in this convert function is to call info box and want to show the information, and the results we'll call the title of this box, and we'll convert kilo into a string, and then we'll add it to kilometers is equal to a string. We'll convert the miles into a string as well, plus miles. And so this will say the result, that's the name of the title of the label on the box, whatever the kilometers inputted by the user, kilometers, is equal to X amount of miles. Miles will be, kilometers will be converted into miles, and the local variable miles will be converted into a string and pumped out here. So now that is completed, we can go ahead and create an instance of the kilo converter GUI and see what is popped out on the other end. So what we've done here so far is we've imported the module Kinter, the ability to create an info dialog box, and then we create a class named Kilo Converter GUI. We initialized it, we set up the main window. From there, we create frames to organize the widgets within that window. Then we've created prompts, and then also something I realized I did not do. I did not initialize or did not pack in the prompt label. So we'll have to put in self dot. Make sure I do this right. Not mess up everything else in the program, which it's so prone to do. Self.prompt label. You want to pack that, and then you want to pack that to the left side as well. So we've created these labels, packed them onto the left side of the window. Then create a calculate button. That calculate button will call the convert function, which is down here, that will get whatever the entry is from the user that's stored in the variable kilo entry, and will push it to this function down here, which will convert the string into a float and then store it in a local variable kilo. Kilo will be multiplied by 0.6214, which is the conversion from kilometers to miles, and will pump out the result is this amount of kilos is equal to X amount of miles in an info box. And then you have the ability to close that box and quit the function completely by destroying that main window, stopping the loop. And then we've packed both of these buttons to the center. And then another thing I should have done also was pack the calc button. And then we want to pack it to the left side as well. And then pack the quit button as well. So let's go ahead and run the program. So we have distance in kilometers, we'll say 500. Convert pushes out 310.7 miles. There we go. And then we can quit, and it ends the program. So with that, what we reviewed is how to use dialog information dialog boxes, quit function or the quit button, and change the size of change the width of an entry box and use the entry widget to input data from the user to convert um, from one unit of measurement to another. And then there are various different ways we can put a twist on this, and hopefully you guys will play with this a little bit to see how powerful this tool really is.